Okay, boys and girls, Neuronymous is here with a new podcast edition. Just before we go into anything in detail, I wanted to make some corrections from my last podcast when I interviewed my friend Jay Cabasol, who is very nice enough to come onto the show. Just a couple nitpicky little errors because that's just the way I am. Clive Barker was not a producer of Dark City. He actually did not have anything to do with that. Also, Eli Roth had nothing to do with the Saw movies. The Hostel movies were his baby. On the other hand, Lee Whannell and James Wan, the Saw movies were their babies. So, just want to make a correction there. And it was not Jason Lin who directed Star Trek Beyond and the several of the Fast and Furious movies. It was Justin Lin, not Jason Lin, but Justin Lin. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I'm just nitpicky. It's just the way it is. So anyway, this is basically just a shameless plug. But I was given the opportunity to write a piece about my experience in active addiction and as well as my recovery, which is going to be, a huge factor in my life. There were, I won't name names and I won't point fingers, but I had a few people who were they weren't outraged, but they were concerned that I was oversharing. And what if people hear me, and what if they fire you, and you can't get a job because this is been in print about your addiction to myriad of substances, cocaine, pot, alcohol, etc. We won't go any further than that. We could, but we won't. And the point of the piece was not to say, hey, guess what, guys? I like to do drugs. The point of the piece was, guess what? I did that stuff. I did a lot of stupid things when I was young, but I made it out, and I stopped being an idiot. It is a disease, but I was still an idiot. Did a lot of stupid stuff. So the point of the piece is not to brag or to it's not an expose. It's meant to give strength to other addicts out there. I want if what I write can make one addict second guess what they're doing and say, what am I doing here? Then that's the dream, man. I want to help people, and if that, I'm an open book, guys. There's not much that I won't say about myself or, or throw myself under the bus about. If it is what it is, it's in the past. You can't, I once heard somebody say, if you have one leg in the past, and one on one side, and you have one leg in the future on the other side, you're gonna piss all over the present. That's not my intention. I am not pissing all over the present. I am not closing the door on the past, but I am leaving it open to let people see that there's a better way to live. Okay, there's a better way to live. If you're drinking, and you can't stop, and you just feel like you need to have that extra drink. That the old saying is, one's too many, 1,000's never enough. Put the drink down. That you don't need it. You don't need that extra drink. It's not going to solve your problem. It's not going to change the way the world is. The world is the way the world is. All you can do is work on yourself. You can't change anybody. That being said, so again, shameless plug. The publication I had the expose on or I just said it wasn't an expose, but the piece about me and my recovery was in an article. The article will go, or the column, or whatever, what have you, was in an online magazine that I've been writing for off and on for several years, almost a decade, I think. I think it is a decade. It's called tcjewfolk.com. Okay. And it's a great publication. I owe a lot to to Leora Maccabee and Lonnie, one of the editors of not one of the editors. He's the man. He's the man who made it all happen. His name's Lonnie Goldsmith. He's great. He supported me through this whole project, and I put it on his radar, and it worked out really well. And tomorrow, on Friday the 19th, there will be a review of a movie called Beautiful Boy. I talked about this in my prior podcast, and so it's a great movie. It's a great movie. I think a lot of people are it's gonna hit them hard. And I will probably do a review of that on the podcast, maybe this weekend, maybe later. Yeah, check it out. Go see it. I think even if you're not in addiction, or you know somebody, or if you know somebody who's in addiction, or has a family member, or has a pet, I don't know, they should go see the movie. Okay. Anyway, I don't like it when people second guess me. I need to speak my truth. My truth is my truth, and I own it. I own it, people. And everybody has their own stories. Everybody has their own backgrounds. Some things that we're not proud. We've all done things that we're not proud of. And some things maybe we should be ashamed of, but we can't sit in that. We can't stew in that. Okay. So anyway, I'm kind of going on a rant here as usual. But I just needed to talk about this, and I'm really. This is a good thing. I'm really enjoying doing this podcast thing. And again, I never got to publish the quote unquote publish the pilot of this podcast. I'm still not used to saying podcast. I still say blog for some reason. But I want to give a big thanks to Dan Clement, who made this possible. I was on Facebook saying, I need to get this equipment. I can't afford it right now. And he just said, hey, what's your address? 2 days later, it was on my doorstep, this microphone. So I am absolutely indebted to him for that. And yeah, again, not too much. I also, I don't know why, but I want to talk about, something that irked some people on the last podcast about, of all things, Dumbledore. That Dumbledore should have been contextually gay is what we talked about. And and I hear what I understood what Dave was saying, and I kind of went along with it, and I kind of agreed with it. And to a certain extent, I still kind of do. But I think it took a lot of balls for J.K. Rowling to say that he was gay. I mean, these are books for children all the way up to adults, and yeah, maybe it might have been cool to have him be gay in the books, but you know what? He's gay. Dumbledore is gay, and that's okay. That's perfectly normal. I'm bisexual, and it's not like I don't go around prancing. Technically I'm talking about it right now on the podcast, but I don't go prancing around saying, "Oh, bisexual, everybody, hello." So why would Dumbledore do that? So I want to give it a shout out to my friend Brad Whittington, who that pressed some buttons with, and he's a good friend of mine, and he wanted to he had some thoughts about that. So but yeah, I get what Jay was going on about, was talking about, but at the same time, thinking about it now, I agreed. I think I have to agree to disagree with him. But that being said, Jay is a very, very well, he's an awesome guy, and I really appreciated him being on the show. And there are a lot of LGBTQ friendly shows out there too. Like right now, the show I really love is, again, Sense8. I've talked about this, and there's this quote that I love, that a transgendered actress, Jamie Clayton, who also is she plays Nomi. The name of her character is named Nomi, but the quote that I love, and I've posted this before, is, "I quit trying to fit in, trying to be one of them. I knew I never would be, but more importantly, I didn't want to be. Their violence was petty and ignorant, but ultimately it was true to who they were. The real violence, the violence I realized was unforgivable, is the violence we do to ourselves when we're afraid to be who we really are." I'm going to say that again. The real violence, the violence I realized was unforgivable, is the violence we do to ourselves when we are too afraid to be who we really are. And that statement stuck out to me. And and the thing is, I'm in a monogamous marriage, and I love my wife, and I would never do anything to jeopardize my marriage. I think everybody who knows me knows that. My wife is my life, and sometimes I joke about it, saying that she's surgically attached to my body, blah blah blah, but she is my wife. But the fact that she knows who I am and what I am through and through, that I am attracted to men and women, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to know that your partner is okay with that. And I love my wife more than, like the movie, that Beautiful Boy. I love her more than everything. She is my rock. And I'm trying not to get emotional here, but she is, without her, I don't know if I'd be here. I mean, read the article, guys. Read the column, the piece, whatever you want to call it, and just be who you are, and just do what you can to be happy. Put down the needle, put down the spoon, put down the straw, whatever you have, and go to a meeting. I'm not going to say the names of the 12-step meetings, because obviously that breaks that breaks principle of the meetings. But go to a meeting, even if you're not sure. I know a guy. I won't name his name. He had a date with destiny. He sat on a bench, and it had the number, I don't know if it's to a 12-step group, or in Mankato there used to be the Minnesota Recovery Center, Southern Minnesota. Here we go, SMRC. It was the Southern Minnesota Recovery Center, and it's no longer there. Unfortunately, I think they lost their funding. It was a wonderful place for people who needed help, and I remember him coming to the meeting, and and now he's married, and he's got a stepson, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I don't talk to him very much anymore. It's not. There's really no, nothing negative about it. We are in different circles these days, but that's okay. But anyway, there is another way of life, and I really, really hope this particular podcast, shameless plug though it may be, reaches out to somebody, because recovery is a beautiful thing, and I'm a lucky guy, and nobody can do this alone. People ask me, how do you do this? Not alone. That's it. That's all I got. I can't do this by myself. So anyway, to the people who are hearing this, like I said, there's so much more to life than the drugs, than the alcohol, Anyway, that's all I got. We're all living, I'm living one day at a time. I'm one day away from a relapse. Everybody in recovery is. So just go ahead and, like I said, take it one day at a time. Surprise yourself. Surprise yourself. You can do it. You can do it. One day at a time. This is Neuronymous, and I'm calling it quits for tonight. Over and out.